So hello all, I'm gonna explain to you briefly about the signal reconstruction. First of all, thank you to all my friends who have been working so hard to make this presentation possible. Thank you to Franny, Abil, Faza, Hugo, and Dizzy. So, in this video, we will talk about 6 things. The first one is what is signal, and the second one is high-level process. The third one is signal sampling. The fourth one is low-pass filters. The fifth one is interpolation, and the sixth one is aliasing. What is a signal? In signal processing, a signal is a function that conveys information about a phenomenon. Any quantity that can vary over space or time can be used as a signal to share messages between observers. The IEEE transactions on signal processing includes audio, video, speech, image, sonar, and radar as examples of signals. A signal may also be defined as any observable change in a quantity over space or time in the time series, even if it doesn't carry information. There is two ways of looking at a signal, a time domain and a frequency domain. A time domain is the one that anyone intuitively thinks about a signal. Given a range of time, we could know the value of the signal like this. And then we could also know the peak amplitude, the time period, the frequency, the phase, and the wavelength. The frequency domain, on the other hand, gives us information about the composition of the signal itself, because we know the signal is a sum of many different sinus and or cosinus function. In the frequency domain, we can know what types of sinus and or cosinus that exist in the given signal and its amplitude. We also could know the properties of the sinus function, which is the peak amplitude and the frequency itself. Here's the high-level process of the signal reconstruction. First, we want to sample the continuous signal from the analog to digital, and then we want to interpolate it from the digital to analog again. So sampling a continuous time signal produces a discrete time signal by selecting the values of the continuous time signal at evenly spaced points in time. As you can see here, from the continuous signal we superimpose a direct delta function that resulted in a discrete signal. As you can see here, this is the discrete signal. Delta function. The direct delta is a mathematical idealization of an impulse or a very fast burst of substance at t equals t0, which is usually equals to 0. The value of the delta direct function when x equals 0 is infinity, and for the other one is 0. The integral of area between minus infinity to infinity in the delta direct function is equals to 1. The integral from the continuous signal, which is gx, times the delta direct function that has been shifted over x0 is equal to the value of the sample signal at the x0 itself. And then here's the example of the sampling. As you can see, here is the continuous signal, and then here is the delta direct function. Here's the impulse rate. And then here is the general formula for sampling signal. The x in here refers to the original signal, and the delta function represents the direct function. Direct, I actually don't know. So, wait, and here's the result, the sample signal from the continuous to the discrete. Reconstruction, also known as interpolation, attempts to perform an opposite process that produces a continuous time signal coinciding with the points of discrete time signal. As you can see, we want to construct the discretized signal from the left side to become the continuous one, the reconstructed one on the right side. Low pass filter. The low-pass filter is used to recover original signal from its sample. Sometimes it is also called as an interpolation filter. A low-pass filter is type of filter which pass only low frequencies up to a specified cutoff frequency and rejects all other frequency above cutoff frequency. In this video, we only talk about three types of low-pass filter, which is zero-order low-pass filter, first-order, and the ideal low-pass filter. Zero-order low-pass filter. The zero-order low-pass filter is basically a filter that holds the value of the discretized signal until the next period of sampling. As you can see here in the convolution of low pass filter and the sample signal, the signal is being held for a certain number of time, and then the new sample comes and it is being held for a certain number of time. And here's the result. As you can see, the reconstructed signal is being held for a certain time. You can also intuitively understand why this filter is so bad. The reproduced signal doesn't look as the same as the original one. In the first order low pass filter, we convoluted a triangle function to our sample signal. The result will look like we connect each of our sample signal like this. Mathematically, the convolution can be seen as an integral of the sample function times the triangle function. After some simplification, each point in the reconstructed signal could be defined as a sum of all points in the sample signal times the shifted triangle function. As you can see from the result, the reconstructed signal is just the connection of the dots in the sampled signal. Before we get into the ideal low-pass filter, let us talk about the filter function that we are gonna use. The general form of this function is sinc function. Because we want to make a cleaner signal, we will use the normalized one. The difference between the normalized and unnormalized is the effect of other points in the convolution. If we have the unnormalized one, the other point will have a greater contribution to the reconstructed signal, leading to a more dirty signal. If we use the normalizing in the convolution for each point, the other point will have a lesser contribution to the reconstructed signal. As you can see, here is the result of the convolution of the sample signal with the sinc function. The reconstruction signal is denoted by the red one. As you can see also here, the reconstructed signal from the ideal low-pass filter looks smoother than the one that use zero-order and first-order filter. However, the reconstructed signal resulted in a very different signal. This is because we took a tiny amount of samples. This is called undersampling. As you can see, there are many details in the original signal that we have lost in the reconstructed one. Like this, we didn't see this, and we do not see this in the reconstructed one. Fourier transform. Using Fourier transform, we could transform or decompose a signal based on its frequency, and we can also know its amplitude. Impulse training sampling. For the impulse train sampling, where the sampling frequency is bigger than 2 times the maximum frequency of the signal, as you can see here, there is not much overlap within the shifted replicas of the frequency domain of the signal. Where the same is true for this, which is equal 2 times the maximum frequency of the signal. And It isn't true for sampling where the sampling frequency is less than 2 times the maximum frequency of the signal. There are so many overlaps. This is not good because if we process this through an ideal low pass filter and cutoff frequency greater than 2 times maximum frequency, the result will not be the same as the original signal, leading to an aliasing. That is why we should sample the original signal 2 times the frequency of maximum frequency of the signal. Here is the result of the convolution using ideal low pass filter. As you can see here also, we have properly sampled the signal so that it wouldn't lead to an ambiguous reconstructed signal. And here is the interpolation result denoted in the red one. It pretty much looks like the original one. As you can see here, it looks the same. There are many details that you can see in the reconstructed one that we couldn't see in the previous one. Like this, you can see it exists. This one also exists. I think that is all from me. Thank you for watching this.